You're good. You're good. You're good. And stop.
Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the Final Fantasy 15 benchmark and discussing the game in general. If you want to see my system specs, they are all fully listed down in the video description. Some of my basic components are a 7700K at 4.7 GHz, a GTX 980 Ti and 16GB of DDR4 3000 MHz memory. Even though I did fully finish and play through this game on its PlayStation 4 Pro version, I am super excited to play through this game once again once it fully releases on the PC platform. Now, even though a lot of people criticize Final Fantasy 15, I do actually believe it is a fairly solid game and I absolutely love the combat system that is present in this game. The only issue I ever had with Final Fantasy 15 was its absolutely horrible frame rates and frame times, especially on the PlayStation 4 high preset version of this game. Sometime after release of the PlayStation 4 Pro version, they also gave us this horrible unlocked frame rate version of the game that was probably one of the worst gaming experiences I have ever had in a video game. The game basically tried to run at 1080p or in between 1080p and 900p and tried to give us a frame rate somewhere in between 30 and 60. However, they absolutely 100% failed at delivering a playable experience, giving us frame times of well over 60 and 70, even 90 milliseconds at some times, and delivering frame rates somewhere in between 30 and 40 FPS. Now, this benchmark that we have actually been given is actually kind of an epic fail from Square Enix and kind of doesn't do it justice to this game at all. If you have been keeping an eye on this benchmark in the past few days, you may have seen that a YouTube channel by the name of Gamers Nexus found that there are tons and tons of objects being rendered off screen at any given time when this benchmark is running, and these things rendered off screen are absolutely tanking performance. Now, not only this, but there are GameWorks features present in the very high preset that you can see on the right hand side of the screen that absolutely tank performance, not just on AMD cards which do not support these features, but also on NVIDIA GPUs that do support the features but still gets the performance absolutely destroyed. Some of these GameWorks features include Hairworks, which is a technology that improves hair and follicle density on animals and characters in the world. We also get access to NVIDIA Turfworks, which is a technology that renders interactive grass into all of the scenes on the high preset in this game. Some other effects that are in the game but may not be fully active are NVIDIA Shadow Libraries, NVIDIA VXAO, which is an advanced form of ambient occlusion, and also NVIDIA Flow, which gives us interactive smoke and fog in-game. Now, since these discoveries were made about all these render issues and horrible frame rates not only on AMD but NVIDIA hardware, Square Enix actually had to release a statement telling us that this benchmark and the performance we are seeing is actually not going to be indicative of the performance we are going to be seeing once the game fully ships. Now, if that is the case, what was the point in them releasing this benchmark at all? Why did they even call it a benchmark? They should have just released it as a sneak peek of the game and let us see what kind of... I don't know, I don't exactly know why they released this as a benchmark or even called it a benchmark in the first place. Okay, so let's stop talking about the benchmark right now and let's even stop calling it a benchmark because it just isn't one. Let's talk a little bit about the actual game itself and what I am hoping we are going to get once it fully releases on PC. Okay, so for anyone who's not familiar with Final Fantasy 15, now don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't played the game, but the premise of the game is basically you are 4 friends who go on a road trip, with the main goal of the road trip being delivering Prince Noctis, the game's main character, to his fiancée. Now, needless to say, everything goes horribly wrong and your kingdom gets taken over and you are basically charged with reclaiming it from its oppressors. So when the game first released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, you were only able to control Prince Noctis in gameplay. However, after release, they did release a series of mini DLCs, I suppose you'd call them, in which you were able to control the other 3 party members, Ignis, Prompto and Gladio. Now, my main hope for the PC release version of this game is that we will, from the very start of the game, be able to switch and swap between these 3 characters, as we do actually have fully fleshed out control methods for each of these characters. I will actually be crazy disappointed if we do not get this feature and functionality in the PC release of the game. Now, another thing that I really hope they fix from the very start of the PC version of the game is how the regalia works. Now, the Regalia is basically our only form of transport, and it is the car that you saw at the very start of this benchmark test. Now, at the very start of the game, at least in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox release versions of this game, we were basically stuck on rails with this car only really being able to move between point A and point B at any given time. Nearer to the end of the game, we were given access to the Regalia Type F, which was a flying modification for the Regalia. However, at that point of the game, there wasn't really much you could do with it, and only really 1 or 2 dungeons were accessible via this kind of transportation. Now, about 6 months after the game release, they also released another modification for the Regalia, which was the Regalia Type D, which was an absolutely awesome off-road version of this vehicle. Not only did this vehicle give us access to different areas that we couldn't previously drive in, but it also actually gave us a proper functioning vehicle to drive around and explore the world. It is this type of vehicle, the Regalia Type D, that I hope that they include in the game from the very start. So to any Final Fantasy fans out in my community, what are your expectations for Final Fantasy 15 on the PC? Let me know what you thought of, or if you played either of the console versions prior to this PC release, and what your expectations are for the game moving forward. As always guys, cheers for checking out the video, remember to like it if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see all future videos from me.